Can you imagine giving your entire inheritance to your partner? Delphine was an only child. Her mother passed away when she was just a baby, and her dad raised her all on his own. But he did a really good job. He loved her wholeheartedly, and every year he would remind her that this is not the life I dreamt for you. I want you to have so much more to be able to explore the world, live life to the fullest. He worked hard, and at the beginning, things were really rough for them. Things were struggle because he was a single father. He had to work, he had to take care of his one and only daughter. But God being so good, things eventually picked up. By the time she was well into her teens, her father got a big-time position, appointed as the general manager of a bank. And by then, he was able to start making some good money. But coming from humble beginnings, her father always had the notion of saving, of investing, of putting some money away. He ensured that his daughter had the exact same principles. They were not cheap, but they were frugal. They spent what they needed to spend, and they would save and invest. And that's how Delphina also gained the same thought process. She too eventually started working and saving her money, investing very well. By the time Delphina was 29, she met and fell in love with Benjamin. They eventually married. They had a big and lavish wedding, primarily catered for by Delphina and her father because they could afford it. Now, Benjamin wasn't doing badly. He also worked in another bank, but he was more middle management. He wasn't rich, but he wasn't poor as well. But for the most part, their relationship was good. Their marriage was good. They made enough money to have fun occasionally, as well as live their best lives. The house in which they lived was bought by Delphina. She had managed to buy it several years back before she even met Benjamin, and it was just a great starter home for them. Unfortunately, by the age of 73, Delphina's father passed away. Delphina was heartbroken. She had finally lost her only parent in this life, and she leaned on Benjamin for support. Through the grief, through the burial, through moving all his documents and properties and arranging all of them at the end of his life. The lawyers informed her that her father had kept his promise. He had ensured that she would have the best life possible. He had created an account worth $3 million. That was to be her inheritance. Throughout the entire process, Delphina was with Benjamin. They discussed moving the documents, getting access to the account, discussed what they should do for the burial at every step of the way. Delphina and Benjamin sat down together after dinner, and Benjamin looked at Delphina and said, "Babe, so your inheritance, what do you plan to do with it?" Delphina said, "Oh, well, our house here is great, but I'm thinking of using some of it to either buy another house or build another house. Maybe we can look into that. I'm thinking of buying land and then maybe a new car. At this point, I want a new car and then maybe do some investments with the additional money. I just want to make sure that everything is secure." Also note that by this time, Delphina and Benjamin had a child. So Delphina also wanted to make sure she passed on the exact same legacy her father had given her. She wanted to ensure that there is an account specifically for their child for them to be catered for the rest of their life. But Benjamin looked at her a little funny. Delphina said, "Benjamin, my love, what is happening?" He said, you've already made plans with this money. At what point were you going to tell me?" And Delphina said, "Oh, babe, we're discussing it now, but this is my inheritance. This is the plans I have. You can share your input. What do you think? What should we do next? Like, where should we build the house, etc." And Benjamin said, "Absolutely not. You're supposed to say that you put the money in my hands, that you trust your husband to take care of this money and use it wisely. It's supposed to come to me." Delphina said, "Wait, babe. I love you, but what now?" Benjamin said, I don't understand your confusion. I am your husband. I am the head of this household. I am the leader. The money comes to me, and then I decide what we should use it for the family." Delphina said, "Babe, I don't understand. You want me to give my father's inheritance to you. For what reason?" Now, that was not what Benjamin wanted to hear. He absolutely flared up in anger. He started throwing his hands in the air, gesticulating in all sorts of sense. He looked at Delphina and said, "You have me moving mad. As your husband, it is my duty to take care of this family and everyone in it. You should put that money in my account and I will decide how we spend it. I don't understand why you've suddenly gotten bold and disrespectful, planning to spend this money without my say-so." Hold up, wait, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now let's go back to the show. Delphina looked on in shock, but Benjamin continued. He said, Delphina, I'm tired of hearing you ramble about spending this money. That's not happening. I am in charge. The disrespect that you're showing me will no longer be tolerated. What do you think the neighbors would say? What do you think my family would say if they hear how you're disregarding me in this whole decision? And before he walked out, he turned and looked at her and said, but remember, if you do not send this money into my account by the next business day, I will ensure that I get a second wife. And she will show you your place, as she will respect me and be submissive to me as a wife should. And then he walked off. In the silence of the house, Delphina was not so sure what to make of this, because this man was not her husband. This man with anger in his eyes and hands raised as though to hit her, she did not know who he was. But she hoped that with his stepping out in anger, he was going to calm down. That night, Benjamin did not return. He came home the following morning completely quiet, didn't interact with Delphina, went about his business. And for the next 3 days, that's how they moved. Delphina walked in silence and on eggshells in her own home. By the 4th day, she came home from work, tired, exhausted, and opened the front door to meet not only Benjamin, but his parents. His mom and dad stood at the kitchen counter and said, Delphina, you are home. Please have a seat. In her confusion, Delphina sat down and Benjamin's parents started talking. This was a whole intervention. Both parents started attacking her. That's how could you do this in our family? This is disrespect and we will not tolerate it. He is the head of the house. You owe him the respect and submission. Ensure that the money enters his account so that he can do the needful. Benjamin's mother continued and said, Delphina, I had to beg him on your behalf to ensure that he does not attempt to find another wife. But I told him, he should relax, that I will personally come and speak to you, and hopefully you will take my words to heart. Delphina said, like how? Benjamin's mother said, look, you know how to do the right thing. In our family, we do the right thing. You are submissive to your husband. You must put every single cent of that money into the account. And don't worry, he'll continue to take care of you and the child. To calm things and to have peace in her own home, Delphina said, you know what, it's okay. I have heard you guys. I will think about it. And with that, both parents walked out. But you see, Delphina said, I have seen true colors. I have never thought I would fight with Benjamin's family in this manner. For money. It wasn't even about the money, but what? Oh, no. So she started planning. She planned for that piece of land she wanted to buy. She planned for that house that she was now going to need. She planned for that car to get the hell out of Dodge. She planned, and she planned very quietly. A couple of weeks down the line, Delphina packed a few things for her and their child. And in the guise of saying, we're just going down the road, we're just going to see somebody, she packed everything into her car. Packed and went to stay at a friend's house. Over the next few days, she would go back to the house when Benjamin would go to work and secretly start packing things. And then she started looking at the things in this house, things that she'd bought, and said, you know what? Let me pack this as well. I bought this. Let me pack this as well. I bought this. Let me pack this as well. About a month later, she'd cleaned out 80% of that house and had managed to find an apartment for her and her child. One random Tuesday, as she is at work, the police come knocking at her door. They inform her that there's a warrant out for her arrest. They want to arrest her for stealing. Delphina says, but how? However, they escort her to the police station and tell her that your husband has placed an arrest warrant in your name stating that you have stolen from him and have emptied the house. Delphina said, me, I only took the things I bought. And the police said, okay, can you prove that you bought those things? Delphina said, you know what? I can. And why is that? Because most of the things in the house she had bought. She made more than her husband. She just never had rubbed it in his face. Most of the things in the house, the furniture, the pots and pans, the plates, the TV, she had bought the things through her company account. There were transactions of almost every single item she had purchased in her account, in her name. The police looked at the evidence and said, you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. But following that whole entire turmoil, Delphina said, nah, this is it. This is over. She is filing for divorce. Her husband needs to let her go. Following the divorce filing, Benjamin started sending even more messages. Some were aggressive, some were begging, some were angry, some were placid. Left, right, and center, he would send messages. Delphina collected all of them. Now she's in court. She's going to use all this evidence to gain full custody and ensure she gets a restraining order against Benjamin and his entire family. But will it go through? Now that's an entangled web. And that's all I've got for you guys today. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Follow us on YouTube at EntangledWebStories, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!